The Culture of Violence Index 2025. Can a country become sustainably peaceful if violence against children and women is already permitted there? That was the initial research question of Franz Jedlicka some years ago, which led to the development of the Culture of Violence Scale, 2023, and later to his e-legislation peace nexus theory, which is also part of his peace mainstreaming concept. The legislation of a country has an impact on the behavior of its citizens. It tells them what is right and what is wrong and what types of conflict resolution are acceptable. People growing up in a country where many forms of violence are permitted by the law learn something different about solving conflicts than people growing up in a country where all forms of violence are prohibited, which is, by the way, the case in almost every country of the European Union. In Jedlicka's opinion, this is the psychological foundation of the peacefulness in the EU, as he explained in an article on LinkedIn. Of course, this does not mean that all people in countries with a high legal acceptance of violence are themselves violent or willing to use violence. But a higher percentage of the population will be willing to fight, and the political actors in these countries are more willing to resolve conflicts with armed force. In Russia, for example, the relaxation of protective laws for women and children in 2017 was, in Jedlicka's view, the psychological prologue to the attack on Ukraine, as he argues in another article on LinkedIn. Something else can also be seen in this index, the intersectionality between violence against women and violence against children. Wherever you see the abbreviations VAW and VAC or VACS in the same row, this linkage is evident. What relevance does this index have for peace activists? Jedlicka's hope is that they recognize the psychological roots of wars and advocate for changes to the currently missing protective laws identified in the index. They may be able to do this, even if they are unable to achieve anything regarding the violent conflicts in their country. All UN member states have agreed on the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and governments can be reminded, for example, that they should make progress on SDG 16.2, child protection, and SDG 5.2, protection of women. In this way, they can, also through non-violence in their families, lay a psychological foundation for a peaceful future of their countries, even if they may not be able to do anything else at the moment.